Welcome to our exploration of a critical and deeply impactful topic, the relationship between childhood trauma and mental health. This discussion aims to delve into the evidence surrounding this issue through a structured and methodological approach to literature searching. Our goal is to understand how early adverse experiences contribute to the increased risk of developing mental health disorders later in life and how early interventions can mitigate these risks. By examining existing research and using a systematic search approach, we can gain a comprehensive understanding of how childhood trauma shapes mental health outcomes and the role of interventions in improving long-term well-being. To structure our inquiry, we employ the PICO method, which provides a framework for developing a focused clinical question. PICO stands for population, being given that children who experience trauma, intervention, being the early intervention, comparison, which being is no intervention, and the outcome, risk of developing mental health disorders. Thus, our refined question is, in children who experience trauma, how does early intervention compared to no intervention affect the risk of developing mental health disorders? This question is crucial because it allows us to assess the effectiveness of early intervention strategies in reducing the risk of developing mental health disorders. Childhood trauma is a significant concern, affecting brain development, emotional regulation, and overall well-being. Without timely intervention, these adverse experiences can lead to long-term mental health challenges, including anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder. By analyzing research related to this question, we aim to provide evidence-based recommendations that can inform clinical practice and public health policies. Conducting an effective literature search requires a strategic approach. To gather the most relevant research, I identified key and alternative terms related to our topic. The key terms include childhood trauma, mental health disorders, early intervention, risk factors. Alternative terms that may yield additional relevant results include adverse childhood experiences and psychological outcomes. Using these keywords, I conducted a structured search to ensure comprehensive coverage of the topic. One of the major challenges in researching childhood trauma and mental health is the broad scope of the literature available. Many studies examine various aspects of trauma, including physical, emotional, and psychological abuse, as well as neglect and household dysfunction. Thus, refining the search to focus specifically on mental health outcomes and the effectiveness of early intervention was essential. The selection of key and alternative terms allowed me to retrieve studies that comprehensively addressed these elements. To improve the precision of my search results and minimize excessive or unrelated articles, I employed several refining strategies. 1. Boolean operators. By using AND to combine concepts, example, childhood trauma and mental health disorders, or by using OR to include alternative terms, example may include early intervention or psychological therapy. 2. Filters and limits. Data range. Focused on studies from the past 10 years to ensure the evidence remains contemporary and applicable. The study type. Prioritized systematic reviews, meta-analysis, and randomized controlled trials for high-quality evidence. The language. Limited results to English language publications to maintain consistency in data interpretation. Number 3, citation tracking. Reviewed references in key studies to identify additional relevant research. These strategies allowed me to refine the search and ensure that the results were relevant to my clinical question. The use of Boolean operators helped me create more precise searches, reducing the number of unrelated articles retrieved. Setting date filters ensured that the research reflected the most recent findings and best practices. By focusing on systematic reviews and meta-analysis, I was able to obtain high-level evidence that summarized multiple studies, offering a broader perspective on the topic. To ensure a robust and high-quality literature search, I accessed two primary databases. One, PubMed, a widely recognized database containing an extensive collection of biomedical literature. It was chosen for its focus on the physiological and medical implications of childhood trauma. 2. PsycInfo, a database specializing in psychology and mental health, providing crucial insights into the psychological effects of childhood trauma. These databases were selected because they offer a comprehensive range of peer-reviewed studies on both the medical and psychological aspects of childhood trauma. PubMed is particularly valuable in providing evidence related to the psychological and neurological effects of early trauma, whilst PsycInfo focuses on behavioral and mental health outcomes. By using these databases, I was able to gather well-rounded insights into the topic, covering both biological and psychological perspectives. Among the many studies reviewed, one high-quality source stood out, a systematic review published in the journal Psychological Medicine. This review analyzed multiple studies exploring the link between childhood trauma and the development of mental health disorders. The key findings included increased risk. Children exposed to trauma are significantly more likely to develop anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Protective role of early intervention. Early therapeutic and psychosocial interventions were shown to reduce the long-term risk of mental health issues. Neurobiological effects. Childhood trauma affects brain development, particularly in areas associated with emotional regulation and stress response, reinforcing the importance of early intervention. The findings from this systematic review underscore the importance of addressing childhood trauma early. Children who experience trauma often develop maladaptive coping mechanisms that can persist into adulthood, increasing the risk of chronic mental health conditions. Early intervention programs such as trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy and family-based interventions have been shown to help mitigate these risks and improve overall psychological resilience. Reflecting on my experience of conducting a structured literature research, I utilized Gibbs' reflective cycle to analyze the process. I started with a clinical question and identified key terms. Initially, I felt overwhelmed by the vast amount of literature available. As I refined my search strategy, I gained confidence in selecting high-quality sources. I recognized that structured searching is essential in evidence-based practice and clinical decision-making. While challenging, this process reinforced the importance of critical evaluation in nursing practice. In the future, I will continue to refine my search techniques and explore additional databases for broader perspectives. This reflection highlights the importance of systematic searching in clinical practice. While it can be initially overwhelming to navigate vast amounts of literature, refining search strategies and focusing on high-quality evidence ensures that clinical decisions are well informed and based on the best available data. Understanding the connection between childhood trauma and mental health is crucial in implementing effective interventions. By employing structured search strategies and prioritizing high-quality evidence, we can better support individuals affected by early adversity. Early intervention plays a pivotal role in reducing the long-term impact of trauma, emphasizing the need for proactive mental health care. Thank you for joining me in exploring this significant topic. Through structured literature searching and evidence-based practice, we can deepen our understanding and improve interventions for those impacted by childhood trauma. By continuing to refine our research methods, we contribute to a more informed and compassionate approach to mental health care.